Hey guys, my name is Kai. Welcome to Road to Challenger. This is episode number 5. I do apologize for the lack of uploads in this series in particular over the past week and a half. Not gonna lie, a little embarrassed when I have to, or rather when I want to upload a VOD, but my rank is just not progressing at all. If not, I might have even deranked since the last episode. So that's not something that I really want to be sharing with you guys, but at a certain point, I gotta upload something. And you know what? It's good that I'm sharing this. You know, we're stuck. Not that stuck. We are stuck, but you know, sometimes the road is a little bumpy. Okay, sometimes the road is a little hard stuck. You know, it is what it is. So, anyways, enough about that. Gonna quit yapping. So, today I want to talk to you guys about this VOD in particular, and the reason why is because in this VOD, I really wanted to discuss with you guys about augment synergies with your unit synergies, which I know sounds lame and stupid and almost like simple as fuck. Like who isn't that the whole point of augments? Like, you synergize with your units, isn't that the whole point? And yeah, I understand, I know exactly what you guys are talking about, but I wanted to talk a bit more about the more niche, sort of less intuitive options that are available to you that won't help, or rather will alleviate whenever you are molding about your hero augments and you're thinking, oh, I got more dodge, whatever. Because I think there's a lot of times, and this took me a long time, trust me, I was molding about hero augments for a very long time, but there are a lot of times where you can actually pick a unit, and even though the unit doesn't fit onto your board specifically, the effect of the augment complements your team in a really nice and interesting way, where it actually makes sense to keep that unit on your board even if it doesn't fully or holistically fit into your traits and your units. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's talk about this game in particular. Obviously, my 2-1 augments was Lucky Gloves. That's not what I'm trying to talk about in this particular video, but also just a quick aside, I used to never take Lucky Gloves in set 7, but Lucky Gloves in set 8 is oddly not that bad. It's like averaging like a 4.5, not even like a 4, it's like a 4.59 or something, like Masters or something like that. Not a bad augment to take. Definitely take it if you have an open crit glove somewhere. But anyways, back to the topic. In this VOD in particular, maybe it's in the thumbnail or title, I have not decided on either of those yet, but this game in particular is all about Draven support augment, Ruthless Blades, and Recon. So for those of you who don't know, Draven support augment, Ruthless Blades has this effect where it will give your entire team 75% crit chance. Now, Recon, especially when you have full Recon, gives your team 100% crit chance. So you might be thinking to yourself, well, you know, aren't you fucking bad? Like, 100% crit plus 75 is 175. Like, you have too much crit. Like, it's just being wasted. That's so inefficient, right? No, it's actually the opposite. So what ends up happening is that with oversaturated crit, this is a really interesting mechanic, by the way. This is, I didn't even learn about this until like about a week ago. But it turns out that in TFT, if you have over 100% crit, any extra crit gets converted into bonus damage, not true damage, bonus damage at a 2-to-1 ratio. So just to give you an example, let's say for example your unit has 180% crit. Because it has 80% over 100, it gets converted to bonus damage. So at a 2-to-1 ratio, that means 40 bonus damage, or 40% bonus damage. So that's why when you have Draven support augment plus recons, which gives 100% crit, you are given so much crit that you're dealing a lot of bonus damage. Just with Draven's augment and having 4 recon in, your units are dealing like 37%-ish bonus damage. So just to put that into perspective, that's like playing supers plus like having what, like every unit on your board 3-starred, like 3 times 7, 21 plus 18. So like, well, like 39. Like, that's basically, sorry, this guy's being a toxic asshole, by the way. Which is ironic, by the way, because this guy's name is literally Monsters Attack, and like TFT is like the most like least, not the most least, but is the least toxic game out there. Like, quite honestly, like this is why I transitioned from Valorant and League, because I could not take toxicity in those games. But TFT is like very nice, everyone's very nice, and like this guy's just being an asshole for no reason. Very small PP energy. But anyways, what are we talking about? Augment synergies, recon, yeah. So anyways, so again, about 37% bonus damage, something along those lines. Yeah, 37.5 to be precise. And that's without including items. So let's say you build a guard breaker, let's say you build a JG, let's say you build IE, you know, you build like any of these items that give more crit, you're just adding more bonus damage. which is pretty freaking insane. When you think about, you know, let's say I slam a JG, or even in the, like right now, I have a guard breaker. I rolled a guard breaker on my Kaisa, right? If I had 4 recon here and I rolled a guard breaker and I had Draven support augment, that is 195% crit. So that's like, I just gained 10% bonus damage. That's kind of a lot. So definitely something to consider. Now, obviously, with Draven's support augment and recon, it is a great synergy that is sort of overlooked. But there are others as well that I think are really interesting to talk about as well. There are, for example, Poppy's support augment, which I don't remember the name of. It's like Steadfast something or Steadfast something. But for those of you who don't remember the effect of it, it gives your entire team 350 HP shields. So think about that in Duelists, right? 350 HP shield on everybody. What does that sound like? Oh boy, I would play Jeopardy music here, but I'm kind of lazy to edit it in. It sounds like a fucking locket. Holy shit, you know? So if you have an extra locket on your field, that's actually pretty good with having, you know, you're basically trading out a unit spot for Poppy. But in exchange, you also get an extra locket that goes on everybody, and you don't have to position for jack shit. So if you have a Duelist opener, but then you're given this Poppy augment, you can consider playing that, right? You can consider playing 2 Duelists with Poppy at the very beginning, rack it up to 4 at 2-5, right? And there you go. You have 4 Duelists plus Poppy. You got a locket on everybody. You got a locket slam. That's a 700 HP shield on everybody. You're playing fast tempo. You're boom. You're bada bing, bada boom. You're chilling. You're out the room. Ooh, what am I, a rapper? I'd be a terrible rapper. But anyways, moving on. So a couple other ones that exist as well that are a little less intuitive that you should definitely consider trying out. Going back to recons too, you have the kill support augment, which if you don't remember, it gives her 2 closest allies. I believe it is 2 extra hex range attack range, 2 extra hex attack range, plus I believe it's 20 or 25% attack speed, which very good for recon. You really want a lot of attack speed, especially because Kaisa's BIS is Ginsu's GS +1, so definitely something that is really, really great for that comp as well. Plus, having a kill on your board, you gotta just take into Underground, and Underground, for those of you who don't know, with recon is really, really great to have. I didn't play it in this game in particular, but in a lot of Kaisa games, you should definitely consider taking it into Underground, and I guess this is a good opportunity to talk about how to do so. When it comes to Underground with Kaisa, typically you're taking into Underground around 3-1-3-2. If you get to tech in earlier, great, do it. But most of the time, you won't have an Underground start, or rather, if you do, you lose too much HP in the early game, so it's not the way to go. Also, with Underground, especially if you're planning on playing into Kaisa, you should try to win streak rather than lose streak, which I know sounds a bit more counterintuitive. A lot of counterintuitive thoughts in this particular episode. But even though it does sound a bit counterintuitive, just think of it as, oh, you're just delaying the time before you actually start losing, right? And then that's when you'll start unlocking locks a bit faster. But, you know, unlocking 2 a round is not bad at all. It's actually not, it used to be 1 during PvE. For those of you who remember that. That shit was ass. But, you know, you unlock 2 a round and you keep winning, you win streak, it's totally fine. That's why with recons too, like, you really want to be leveling very aggressively. And I'll return to that, but let me finish talking about the Underground stuff. But anyways, ideally you want to tech into Underground at around 3-1-3-2, and typically your board will look something like 4 recon. So you have your Ashe, your Ezreal, your Kaisa, your Vayne, plus a Vi, plus a Rammus. Nuh-uh, sorry. Level 6. Oh my god. I'm not gonna edit that though, sorry. I'm hoping nobody just left the video. But anyways. Let me rephrase that. Level 6. You don't have Rammus in there. It is. Yes, you do. You do have Rammus. Holy fucking shit. Sorry. Run it back. Everything that just happened there didn't happen. Alright, anyways. Level 6. Now I know what I'm talking about. Level 6. You have a Rammus on your board, and you have 3 recon, plus Underground. So you have your Kaisa, Vayne, Ezreal, Rammus for your front line, Vi, and Kayle. You don't really want to tech into Sona, even though Sona 2, yes, is a significantly better unit than a Kayle 2. Sona 2 is just one of those units that just doesn't fit very well into the comp. You get Duelist for Vayne, which is really nice, especially if you have Vayne 2. The utility from Sona is really nice, but you know, it is what it is. It just doesn't fit very well. It also is really expensive, especially because when you're trying to play tempo and you have the Sona 2 on your board, it just takes up 9 gold. It's kind of expensive for what it is. Plus, if you'll lose, it's not really the worst thing. If anything, it's kind of good. So, again, try to avoid Sona if you can. Then level 7, you do tech into the 4 recon, and then you just keep Underground in there. And usually, you'll be able to hit Heist 3, Heist 4 pretty much no problem. Heist 5 is a very rare niche case scenario. It's very high rolly, but most of the time you get Heist 3. A lot of time you'll hit the gold treasure for whatever reason. I've been hitting like the 50 gold one really a lot recently, which isn't that great. It's okay, but you know, it is what it is. And lets you hit your 3 stars, whoop-de-doo. But ideally you do want to hit that Heist 4 because you do have the odds of hitting those, you know, those radiant items. You get to hit that Tactician's Crown. You have a bunch of really good stuff starting from Heist 4, and I think if you have the HP for it and you have the tempo for it, I think definitely Heist 4, if you can, you should always cash out at around Heist 4. But back to the game itself. For those of you who are privy to the gameplay itself, you might have noticed that on 4-2, I took Recon Crest instead of Phony Frontline. And the reason why is specifically because I'm playing the Draven support augment. I just figured if I'm playing Draven anyways, might as well turn him into a Recon. And then I can tech off the Ashe and throw something else on my board, which would be really nice. But I'd also hit the Urgot at the same shop as the time I got the augment. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I'll just do Recon Urgot. Sounds good enough to me. Plus, gets rid of a Last Whisper. Did use a Crit Glove though. Not the best use of my components, but it is what it is. Anyways, moving on. A little more about the sort of the nicher sort of other ones as well in terms of the augments with the sort of the less known synergies or the less known relationships. You also do have Lee Sin support augment with Duelists. So you might have a random Lee Sin on your board, but whenever, for those who don't know, Lee Sin support augment, when you get shielded by anything or Lee Sin, you gain bonus attack speed, which is really, really great for Duelists, right? Then you also have Jack support augment, which is really great with aces. Jack support augment evasion, which I'm pretty sure everybody is aware of what Jax's support augment does since the Jax meta from last patch. But Jax's support augment basically just gives you dodge for 2 seconds once you drop to around 50% HP, which is really, really nice to have when you know you're playing Jax on your board, usually to form the mech frontline, which everybody's been talking about during this meta with Set, or sometimes you'll occasionally see a Leona as well. Here, as we are moving on to the game, you might have been privy, you might have noticed that somebody else in the lobby had actually hit Kai'Sa 3, which explains why I've been sitting on a Kai'Sa 1 this entire freaking time. But even with the Kai'Sa 1, you can see 74 HP, like I'm pretty much chilling in the spot. Like, this Ruthless Blades Recon synergy, again, very, very, very strong. And even if I were, even though, sure I have Lucky Gloves, but, you know, I have 2 items on my carry, and it's a 1-star Kai'Sa, like, it's not that strong. So you can definitely tell, very strong. But in this scenario, right, because sometimes you'll run into this where somebody is running Kai'Sa as well and you're contested. What do you do from the spot? Well, from my experience and from what I've seen from other people playing as well, usually if you know somebody else is going for Kai'Sa 2, Kai'Sa 3, God forbid they hit Kai'Sa 3 before you do, like it happened to me in this game, you just want to just push level. So as soon as you hit that Kai'Sa 2, that Bane 2, that whatever, and then you notice somebody else has just has the Kai'Sas and you don't, just push level, totally fine. Your 4 recon board will stabilize you throughout the mid game, and then at level 8 you can start to decide, do I want to pivot out or do I want to keep rolling for Kai'Sas? What's really interesting here is that I think I talked about this in a previous episode too, but you can do what's called saving for potential, and what that means is basically you just save up a bunch of money. You save up a bunch of money past 50 gold, like the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even the hundreds, but you just save up a bunch of gold. And the reason why you do that is because it gives you liberty. It gives you a chance to decide, do I want to do this or do I want to do that, right? Instead of using your money right off rip just to roll or just to level, you can just sit on it, right? You can just sit on it and just think, is this money that I'm about to spend, this 10 gold above, let's say you have 60 gold, is this 10 extra gold that I have that I'm gonna roll with gonna spike my board in any way that's substantial? Probably not, right? So why not just sit on it and just wait later and just see what happens, right? Because then you get to see what happens, and then maybe somebody, like in this scenario, the Kai'Sa 3 player fucking died because that guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. You hit Kai'Sa 3, you should be winning every game. That guy's a fucking moron. He went 7th. I don't know how that happened, but he did it. Very impressive, but stupid as fuck. So, you know, I wasn't expecting him to die so quickly, but he did. So, fuck that shit. The only reason why I even pushed level 8 in this scenario in particular is because I noticed that the tempo of the lobby is going a little too fast, and I am a little far away from Kai'Sa 3. So I did push level here because I wanted to definitely secure top 4 no matter what. And then from this spot, I can think, okay, maybe I'll roll for the Kai'Sa 3, maybe not. We'll maybe tech out or whatever, we'll see. But from this spot, I'm thinking, you know what? Probably can still vote for Kai'Sa 3, but in the previous turn at 4-5, because there were still 5 players left, and because I didn't know how well or how things would go at all, definitely, even though with my HP lead, just really wanted to confirm that I could definitely go top 4, instead of just like rolling down all my money and then potentially even not hitting the Kaisa. That would be really, really bad. But yeah, that's my only decision. That's the only reasoning behind the level 8 there. Obviously, there are a lot of people who might argue that you have like 50, 60 gold plus a duplicator. Like, you should probably just roll for that Kaisa 3. Even though I love playing Kaisa, I tend to have a lot of bad luck when it comes to that, I've noticed. So I like to push levels if I know for a fact I can top 4 no matter what. And then if I know for a fact that I can top 4 anyways, I will stay level 7 most of the time and I'll just roll to hit that Kaisa 3. But anyways, as we can see here, I have about 2 lives left. I'm sitting at 34, so I'm thinking, okay, well, yeah, about 2 lives. So I'm thinking, okay, just gonna probably just send it. Send it, see what happens. Because at this point, once I start sending it down, I can really get a better idea as to like how things are gonna go. And then I can really think about like alternatives that I might be able to hit. Also, like if I hit like let's say I hit a Fiddle 2, there's no chance in hell I'm playing Kaisa. I'm probably just gonna play Recon Fiddle. Fuck it. Like, that's probably better than this Recon Urgot 1, right? When you're rolling down, you're also looking for ways to spike your board and alternative methods that might exist. Also, I'm not using the True Ice Feather Knight Pengu. I know it's my signature, and I know I love it to death, but holy fucking shit, I spent like 100 in like... How much did I spend? I spent like 140 bucks trying to hit this Annie skin. I'm getting $140 worth of value out of this fucking Annie skin, alright? I'm gonna be using it for a while. I apologize. I'll go back to Pengu soon enough, but it's not gonna be anytime soon. I really enjoy this cutscene, and until I'm fucking sick of it, like, there's no chance in hell I am switching back to the Pengu anytime soon. I apologize, but $140 for a skin is fucking stupid. Like, it took way too many rolls. I think it took me like 55 rolls, I think. 54, 55, and I think the pity is 61. So I got pretty unlucky with that, which is also the reason why I decided to push level 8, because sometimes I'm not very lucky with my rolling. So, there you go. Anyways, back to the game. It's now me versus this last guy here. I'm just rolling because, fuck it, it's the end of the game. There's no way I'm going level 9 from this spot. There's just too little HP, too little time. So I'm just rolling, trying to see whatever other upgrades I could possibly find from the spot. For those of you who might have been a little aware, a little keen, this is the Monsters Attack guy. This is the toxic asshole who was talking smack at the beginning of the game and was picking me to do something that's not very nice to me. I'm sure you can piece 2 and 2 together. Anyways, down to the last hatch. It's just me versus this guy now, and again, a reason why I tried to spike my board and hit that Kaisa 3 when I was 2 lives. Just want to make sure this is very clear. I wanted to make sure that if I had really bad RNG during a fight, like the last fight before this one, that I'd still have at least one more chance. Obviously, gonna talk smack. I kept him muted, so I have no idea what he's saying. But that guy's an asshole, and hope this was helpful. Thank you guys for making it to the end of Road to Challenger, episode number 5. As you can see, I have not climbed out of D2. I actually hit D1 the other day, and then I like immediately demoted out of it within like 3 hours, which was not very cool. I am actually thinking about going to look for some coaching, because I feel like I keep learning new things after every single game, and I've been actually taking notes every time I go 7th or 8th, and like if I go 5th or 6th, I'm very happy. Actually, I'm like, you know what, 5th or 6th, that's okay. It means I played well. It means I was able to dodge in a 7th or an 8th, right? But like if I go 7th or 8th, it's like, okay, what did I really do wrong this game? And it's getting to a point where I've had a couple games where I'm just like, I don't know what else I could have done. And once it hits that point, it's like, dude, I need an outside opinion. I need somebody to help me out. So if any of you got like coaching recommendations or people that you recommend, if you've ever gotten coached in TFT before by any like challenger players or any like really just challenger players, but if you've had anybody who, you know, you really enjoyed getting coaching from, and they're like not too expensive, like let me know. I would be interested in looking into it. So anyways, enough about that though. Take care, guys, and I hope to see you guys all in the next episode. Hopefully we'll be masters. We should definitely be masters by the next episode, because if we're not, that's a problem. That's a problem. I know I'm putting pressure on myself, but that's gonna be a problem. Anyways, take care, guys. Happy climbing. Bye bye.